o en otra universidad, en Texas. Trabajaba acá hace un par de años.
So good afternoon, my name is Sarah Riff. I'm the Outreach Coordinator and Undergrad Advisor with the Latin American, Caribbean, and Iberian Studies program. And I'm really pleased to see all these new faces here today. This is a really great turnout. A couple quick announcements I'll make is that in the back you probably noticed there's some hot water or tea, there's also coffee and snacks, which you're welcome to. We have a clipboard in the back on the corner there if you're interested in being added to our listserv if you're not already on it. We do send out a weekly event newsletter of all the events that we're involved in and things happening kind of on campus and off campus related to this region of the world. What else? Denise is looking for a charger for an iPhone if anyone has one. So you can follow up on that. What else did I want to mention? I guess that's really it. I'll just turn it over to Elise, who is going to introduce our speaker and tell you guys a little bit more about Witness for Peace. So thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Elise. I'm the Director of Witness for Peace here in the Midwest. I'm just going to take a couple minutes to tell you about Witness for Peace if you're new to us, and then tell you why we're focused on Honduras today, and then I'll hand it off. Our presentation is about 45 minutes long, and then we'll have a good 10 or 15 minutes for questions at the end. So Witness for Peace was founded 33 years ago during the Contra War with Nicaragua, wanting U.S. citizens to see firsthand the effects of the military intervention in Central America. We use a popular education model, so we're based on hearing directly from those most affected by policies and practices, both by what we're doing today, by bringing in speakers who are directly affected by U.S. policies to educate us firsthand about their experience. And we take groups of folks from the U.S. to Latin America on 8 to 10-day delegations to be really immersed in connecting with our partners and hearing from folks on the ground in Latin America. The yellow sheet there is some information about some of our trips. And I'll just highlight the second one, which is to Mexico over the J-term break. There are options for credit and scholarships if you're a student or interested in traveling with us to Mexico. And then the fourth one there you'll see is to Honduras, which we'll be visiting with Alfredo and some Griffin communities among other groups in Honduras. Witness for Peace's mission is to support peace, justice, and sustainable economies by changing U.S. policies and corporate practices that lead to human rights violations, poverty, and oppression. We're specifically focused around the actions of the U.S. government, actions based on U.S. taxpayer money, and behaviors by U.S. corporations. So those are the kind of the themes of what we work on. Why we would be in Honduras? Many of you, I'm sure, know we have a long history of relationships, both military, governmental, and business relationships with Honduras. A lot of that probably began during the rise of transnational banana companies and fruit companies based in Central America. It was also the base of our military during various types of interactions with other countries in Central America. Our military was based in Honduras during the Contra War, supporting the Contras against the Sandinistas. We were also based in Honduras during the insurgency in El Salvador. So we have a long-standing kind of military presence there. I believe there are 11 U.S. military bases in Honduras right now. So we have a big presence there. In 2006, we signed CAFTA-DR, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with NAFTA and the effects of NAFTA, or perhaps the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is going to be voted on in a couple months in our Congress. Those are all really similar kind of NAFTA-style trade agreements, and we see a lot of the same effects in terms of effects on workers and effects on the routes of migration. In 2009, there was a coup in Honduras. Since then, we've seen a drastic increase in human rights violations. I would say this is the biggest human rights crisis in the hemisphere, and we're just not hearing enough about it. So that's why we're focused on Honduras today. A lot of the human rights violations are tied to privatization of resources, water systems, energy systems, natural resources, and land, especially coastal land or land that's on top of natural resources or is especially rich for some reason. And we've seen a massive increase in violence, especially against those that are defending that land. So land reform folks, people who are indigenous and defending their land, and as we'll hear about today, Afro-Indigenous communities. So I'm going to just leave it there. I am going to hand around, this is a petition that's being circulated by the Honduras Solidarity Network. You can read it and see if it's something you want to sign. You can give us your information there. If you don't want to sign the petition, we also do have a sign-in sheet, so if you'd just like to get our emails, feel free to flip back and give us your information there. So I am on day 18 or so of a 22-day tour around the Midwest. It's been a complete honor to be traveling with Alfredo Lopez. He is the Vice President of Alfrane, the Black Fraternal Organization of Honduras. It is the leading Black rights, Garifuna rights organization in Honduras and is world-renowned for their amazing work. They just won the U.S. Food Sovereignty Prize last week that was based in Des Moines and are just received another award in Texas. They're doing just really amazing work. So please join me in welcoming Alfredo Lopez and my colleague from our Honduras Nicaragua team, Gloria, who will be serving as interpreter today.
Espéreme. Después vamos a pedir que la apaguen.
We'll ask you in a minute to turn on the lights.
Buiti bina fija un zoom a Chilirban. Buenos días a todos y a todas los que están acá, para que podamos compartir un poco sobre quiénes son los garífunas, de dónde venimos y dónde estamos, para que podamos contextualizar la conversación el día de hoy. Es un placer estar acá. Soy el vicepresidente de la Organización Fraternal Negra de Honduras. Mi nombre es Alfredo López, como está ahí escrito.
Good morning in my native language. It's a pleasure to be here today to share some information with you. And I'd like to begin by talking about who the Garifuna are, where we came from, where we are now. It's a pleasure to be here again. I'm the vice president of the Black Fraternal Organization, and my name is Alfredo Lopez.
Los garífunas es una mezcla de esclavos africanos que venían para los mercados con indígenas del Caribe, los calinas y los arahuacos.
The Garifuna are a product of intermarriages that happened between African slaves who were coming to the slave markets and indigenous Caribbean people, the Calinas and the Arawaks.
En esta isla hubo una parada obligada de estos barcos a raíz de una rebelión ahí, y producto de esto fue que se mezclaron estos dos pueblos y en un principio vivían de una manera pacífica en San Vincent, hoy Granadinas, y cuando aparecen los ingleses pretendiendo esclavizarlos y se provoca una guerra.
And on this island, which was an obligatory stop, there was a rebellion, and this is how these intermarriages happened. First, these people lived peacefully together there in the island of St. Vincent, now the Grenadines. But the British came and wanted to enslave us, and a war ensued.
Después de mucho tiempo de pleitos y muchos problemas, pues finalmente vencen al ejército garífuna. Sin duda alguna habían muchas debilidades. La corona era muy fuerte y en 1797, después de la derrota, fueron deportados masivamente a British Honduras, hoy isla de Roatán.
The British, the war with England was a prolonged one. We had many problems, and in the end, the Garifuna military were defeated, and they were indeed they had weaknesses in the military. And the British crown was very strong. So this happened in 1797. And we were massively deported to British Honduras, what today is the British island of Roatán.
Eso es lo que somos los garífunas. Sin embargo, con todas estas dificultades, y realmente no sabemos si fue bueno o malo lo que pasó, de no llegar a los mercados, de no ser esclavos, de pasar solo en guerra. Lo importante para nosotros es que se mantuvo la cultura, se mantuvo la lengua, se mantuvo nuestras raíces intactas, tenemos nuestras comidas.
So we Garifuna people have lived through many difficulties. We don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing that we actually never made it to the slave markets. But we do know that we have maintained across this time our culture, language, our roots, and our food.
Y eso para nosotros es importante, además de mantener nuestra espiritualidad, que es un elemento que muy importante en la vida del pueblo garífuna. ¿Dónde estamos en Honduras? Bueno, nosotros nos asentamos en toda la costa caribe hondureña y vecinos con la Mosquitia. Razón por la que como siempre se vivió de la pesca y una convivencia armónica con el mar. El garífuna sin el mar prácticamente pudiese desaparecer, ¿verdad?
Besides, we have maintained our spirituality, which is an important part of our Garifuna culture. So where have we settled? We've settled along the Honduran coast, just getting into the bordering with the Mezquita area. And because we are fishermen, we have lived in harmony with the environment, and we believe that without an ocean, we would disappear as a people.
En este slide podemos observar una de las tantas manifestaciones que hacemos como organización, acompañados desde luego de nuestro pueblo. Sin embargo, ahí se ven unos tambores en la primera línea. Los tambores significan mucho para nosotros. Los tambores son parte de nuestra cultura. Y cuando estamos tristes, tocamos los tambores. Cuando estamos alegres, tocamos los tambores. Y cuando estamos preocupados y que hay que sonar la alarma, también suenan los tambores, como ahora. Ahora que estoy acá, allá están sonando los tambores en nuestras comunidades.
In this slide, you see one of the many protests that we have organized with our people. And on the first row, you see us carrying drums. The drums have a lot of meaning in our culture. We play them when we're sad, we play them when we're happy, we play them when we're worried and we need to sound the alarm. And as I speak now, the drums are playing.
En ese ambiente difícil de mucha hostilidad, racismo y el apartheid en Honduras, y seguimos nosotros con mucha determinación a raíz de que los vínculos con las organizaciones, los pueblos y las comunidades.
Despite living in an environment that is very hostile, where there's a lot of apathy and racism, we work with a lot of determination with our various communities and other indigenous groups.
Tenemos un programa de acompañamiento de las comunidades legal, porque como estamos en toda la costa caribe y hoy pues se necesita la costa para desarrollar megaproyectos turísticos, entonces una persecución permanente.
We do permanent legal accompaniment of our communities because, as I said, we're settled along the coast. And the coast is now being needed for, supposedly needed for these mega tourism projects. So we are facing constant persecution.
Por eso también tenemos un programa de comunicación con 6 radios comunitarias. Una de ellas fue incendiada en 2010 después de uno de estos golpes de Estado que ahora se practican muy seguido en nuestro país.
We also do work in the area of communications. We have 6 community radios, and one of those radios was set on fire in 2010 after one of many coups that is very commonplace in our country.
Y también tenemos proyectos de soberanía alimentaria, por eso el premio al cual se refirió mi colega acá, hace como 3 días, creo que fue en Iowa.
We also do work on food sovereignty, which is why we received this prize that my colleague mentioned. This was just 3 days ago in Iowa.
Y bueno, también tejemos muchos lazos de solidaridad a través del mundo, por ser la primera organización en Honduras organizada para defender los derechos humanos del pueblo garífuna.
We also build solidarity around the world because we are the first organization that was founded to defend the human rights of the Garifuna people.
Antes de seguir con la conversación, nos gustaría mostrar un video que, para entrar ya en materia, sobre cuáles son las contradicciones y los diferentes puntos de vista de los desarrolladores de los proyectos, o sea, los empresarios, y qué pensamos nosotros sobre lo que es el desarrollo que ellos están planteando. Y este video nos ilustra, más o menos, y luego nosotros seguiremos explicando algunas cosas.
Before we get deeper into the issues, I want to show a video that shows the contradictions, both from the point of view of the developers who are doing these development projects, in essence, the businessmen, versus what we think as the communities. I think this illustrates the contradictions.
necesario. Even the government is still part of the partner of this project. So it's private sector, but the government has a 30% of investment of this project. This is just like 15% of what we're happening here. It's the beginning, yeah. It's coming like, they try to build something to cover the, even a good four season, build a couple hotels here and others.
And nobody lives there?
No, well, we have like a, you can walk like a now. We have a lot of land. It's around, we're talking about like 960 acres.
That's going to be a really big development.
Yeah, the way you see the main plan, there, this is like a 15%.
Really?
Yeah, oh my God. This is nothing.
This is our land.
Hoy alguien venga ajeno de esta comunidad venga a decirnos que nosotros no pertenecemos acá. 9% of our employees are from Tela, local. And Honduras is the only project with this vision. Jamás han venido aquí a la comunidad.
They've never come here to the community.
Ni tan siquiera para decirnos, hola, ¿cómo están, perros? Jamás han venido.
And they've never come here, not even to say hi.
Nunca.
Never.
Y nosotros sentimos que la cosa no va a terminar aquí.
The thirst and the hunger that they have for this land.
Y sabemos que ellos van a hacer lo que puedan hacer
we know
para
that they're
tratar
going to
de
do
obtenerla.
what they want to do in order to obtain this
Pero
land.
todos sabemos que la cosa no va a ser fácil,
It's not going to be easy here for us.
porque nosotros no vamos a regalar lo que es de nuestro,
Because we are not going to give
ni
away
en esta vida
ours.
ni en la otra.
You can turn on the.
Gracias. Eso es un poco, bueno, ahora esas son las grandes contradicciones. Ellos proponen que nosotros tenemos que ser objetos del desarrollo. Y nosotros planteamos que debemos ser sujetos, porque tenemos derecho igual que cualquier persona. Somos personas.
So those are the great contradictions that exist, and they want us to be objects of development, but what we are saying is that we want to be subjects of development because we have rights just like anyone else. We are people.
Y todo esto se hace con el apoyo del gobierno, de estos gobiernos de aquí, de Estados Unidos, lamentablemente.
And unfortunately, these things are done with the support of the U.S. government.
Porque el golpe de Estado fue financiado y apoyado por los Estados Unidos.
Because the coup that happened in Honduras was financially and otherwise supported by the U.S. government.
Y de esta manera se les paga a los golpistas, ¿verdad? Para atropellar a la gente y hacer dinero.
And this is like, what you saw in the video is like the prize that the people who did the coup receive. In order to kind of trample the people and make money.
En este slide podemos ver ahí lo de el pleito, la guerra contra las drogas, que no podemos venir aquí y hablar sobre el tema de migración, el tema de la pérdida del territorio, sin decir nada sobre este tema, porque está como muy ligado y entreverado con todas estas políticas públicas muy agresivas que tenemos en nuestro país.
This slide talks about the drug war, and we can't pretend to come here and talk about other issues like immigration or the loss of our territory without talking about the drug war, because all of these issues are very interconnected to the aggressive public policies which we see.
Aquí ilustramos lo de las pistas clandestinas. Bueno, nosotros como pueblos estamos en un proceso ahora mismo de cerrar una de esas pistas que se habían hecho de manera ilegal en uno de nuestros espacios titulados a nombre nuestro. Pero como allá los narcotraficantes tienen las armas y ellos tienen el poder, entonces hacen lo que les da la gana. Entonces,
here in this picture, you see a road which was illegally, a secret road that was constructed for drug trafficking purposes. As we speak, we are in the process of closing down one of these secret roads that was illegally constructed on our collectively held land. But since the drug traffickers have the arms and the power, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Nosotros, como estamos en ese proceso, pues hemos logrado avanzar como el 60%. Está semicerrada la pista, pero no hemos podido parar que sigan llegando al territorio.
And since we're in this process of recuperating our land, we've been able to recapture about 60% of it. But it's semi-closed now, but we can't completely stop them from coming in.
En esta otra fotografía se puede ver al expresidente Porfirio Lobo muy contento, rodeado de militares.
In this next picture, you see ex-Honduran President Porfirio Lobo. He's very happy and he's surrounded by military men.
En esta situación queremos decirle que el hijo de este señor está detenido aquí en Estados Unidos acusado de narcotraficante, ¿verdad?
The son of this ex-Honduran president is currently in a U.S. jail under drug trafficking charges.
Pero su hermano es un capo mayor y está ya coordinando todos los negocios.
But the ex-president's brother is one of the biggest drug lords in Honduras, and he's still back there doing his business.
Y esa es la cosa de esta lucha contra las drogas. Nosotros realmente no entendemos cuál es lo que hay que se mueve atrás de todo esto.
So this is why we don't understand what the drug war is all about and what are the motives behind this drug war.
Se pueden ver ahí también esos militares que acompañan muchos de ellos son generales millonarios y que son personas que apoyan el crimen organizado